Hi, my name is Claude Sharon. I am the Director of Education and Professional Development for the Conrad Foundation. In this module, Intellectual Property Getting Started, I will take you through an introduction of the IP process, provide some case studies, demonstrate some really good resources and websites, and provide some tips for schools, teachers, and coaches on how to get started with IP. The IP process can be very confusing, especially if you're a high school team and have never experienced what intellectual property is and the process. Even though we know there's so many resources out there, how do we get started? What resources are good? What's patentable? What's not patentable? This module was created to do just that, help student teams through the process. In 2003, I was able to acquire a provisional patent with a student team. Since then, I've acquired 7 additional provisional patents, including a full patent application, which is still pending since 2014. I've put in over 200 to 300 hours of time in this process. This is why I'm so excited to share some amazing resources that can help teams really save time. So we're going to start with the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office. This is an excellent resource. However, it can be overwhelming. This is a good way to start. Home, patents, getting started, patent process overview. So I'm just going to go ahead and look through this real quick and show you how it's set up. So to determine the types of intellectual property protection that you need. So this is an excellent way to start, and everything from patent, trademarks, service marks, and copyrights, inventor resources, and online resources. The second part, determining if your invention is patentable, is actually really important. It can save you a lot of time up front if you educate yourself on how to apply for a patent, patent searches, so you are not in violation of a prior patent. And this can take an immense amount of time. However, there are tricks to the trade that will enable your team to save a lot of time. What kind of patent do you need? Is it a utility patent? Is it a design patent? And etc. So this is actually laid out extremely well. So it gives you specific examples of what is what. And I encourage a team to know what kind of patent they're looking for before they go ahead and just do a patent search. Once you figure out what kind of patent you want and you look and see if it's there and you realize it's not, well, how do I apply for a patent? Okay, and this is an example of the costs that are associated with and what process you would need to go ahead and do that. And then you need to prepare and submit an initial application, which can be a cumbersome process, but it's laid out pretty well here. If you spend the time and look through these documents, you actually will find that it's not as tedious as you might think. Working with an examiner is actually important, so understanding what that entails, and it breaks it down really nicely here. The approval process, what does that mean? Just because you apply for a patent doesn't mean you will obtain it. So it goes through that process here as well. And step 8 is where I'm at with our full patent application, and we're in year 4. It could be up to 12 years. So it's extremely tedious and time consuming. So some of the things that you might want to know before you go into a full-fledged patent process. So here's some really good resources to get started. I will share the web link at the end of this module. So let's go to the second one, the intellectual property. This institute, the intellectual property from this institute, I am thoroughly impressed with. The Conrad Foundation is really excited to team up with the Michelson Institute for Intellectual Property. And I can tell you from personal experience, I wish that I had access to this 15 years ago. The patent videos, copyright videos, trademark videos, the way it's set up, how wonderfully delivered these videos are it's amazing. In my experience going through patent videos, it's been very difficult to understand what the video is and then trying to translated to how it would affect your team. So they do a really good job of breaking it down. And it makes perfect sense because this organization is colleges and university use this. It's free, and there's so many multimedia resources available with it. And as you can see here, there's actually an online course that you can take, and that's also free. So I would encourage anyone that wants to learn a little bit more about intellectual property and copyright and etc. It's a great way to navigate and really get what you're looking for answered. Another thing I would strongly recommend is signing up through the registration, which is free. It's a very simple process. As you can see, I'm already logged in. That's why there's a log out here. And I've been nothing but impressed with this resource. So I'll share that as well. And the foundation's very excited to be teaming up with this organization. So more on that in just a little bit. So here's some tips in regards to IP and best practices for student teams moving forward. So during the process of acquiring a patent pending or provisional patent for the team, this is one of the things that the Conrad Foundation, specifically the Conrad Challenge, strongly recommends, that a team has their product or service protected. However, the way you go about that is very personal. Each product might be completely different than the other. What kind of patent? Why should you patent? Are you able to patent something in your school? Might depend on the region, the school district, or even the country you're in. The lesson that was taught earlier in this module is very specific to the United States policy in regards to patent pendings and provisional patents. So it's important to know the policies and the different methods on what your country might be using. With that being said, going through the process for the last 15 years at one specific school has taught me one thing. There is no one way for everyone. It's wide open. So I've had numerous hours of conversations with people about how do we protect the students' interest. So first and foremost, I will state this. The Conrad Foundation does not own any right to your product or service, which is such a big deal. The foundation believes that it should be owned by the students. With that being said, I think it's important to understand that you are a student at the school and there might be policies in place that that you should be aware of. I've seen schools where the student owns all intellectual property. There are other schools where students share intellectual property with the school. I will give you one scenario in which you might, as a team, decide to partner with the school versus just doing it independently. So a few years back, I was involved with the water system that's now in 7 different countries. So if the students decided to take the patent with them, then the actual product the water system would have not been still developed at the school. So because they shared it with the school, other students were able to have that product protected and enabled us to continue to make water systems for other countries. However, many times that's not the case. It might be a commercially viable product that you're trying to protect, and the students want to continue working with the product way after graduation. So my recommendations is to be open, have those conversations early, but one of the things, again, to restate the importance of protection, know what you're able to do, ask the right questions, and if you do need any help with any assistance moving forward, that's where not only I can help you, but the foundation can as well. So the last part of this module, I'll talk a little bit about the additional resources and support that I will provide any team moving forward. So in the actual Slack channel, the No Box Toolbox, you will find mainly general, random, and a few channels pending on what you subscribe for. But the one I want to feature right now is called Patent Information. So you might not see that on your tab. And the reason for that is because we want to be able to keep it clean for you. But if you'd like to add it, you go to Channels, Create Channels. You go to Channels, and then from there you scroll, and then you will find patent information. When you click that, it will give you the option to join. So once that occurs, you will find the 2 resources that I just provided with you during this module. So this link right here is patent getting started. That's what we actually focused on. But as you can see, and as I mentioned, look how overwhelming this can be, but also how useful and resourceful it is as well. So you have an immense amount of links. So there's many resources here. In addition to that, I also provided the Mickelson intellectual property information here for you to go straight to their link. So that's there. And as always, you're always welcome to direct message me on NoBox Toolbox for direct support for any of these resources anytime. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck.